Hey folks, I did a video on this yesterday, but it was kind of rubbish and I really want to do it justice because I really enjoyed this book. So here's me having another stab at it. This is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. So, quick plot summary. The world has been destroyed by man through World War Terminus and is left at a huge dust bowl, killing most animals, and has resulted in the colonization of Mars, where most of the population of the Earth have emigrated to Mars. Animals are of very high value because a lot of them have been destroyed, and it's expected that you're supposed to have a pet. And this is where the title comes in, because if you can't afford an animal, you can get an electric one made far more cheaply. So humans have inhabited Mars, and as an incentive, androids have been made as essentially robotic servants for people living on Mars. Our guy Rick Deckard's job in San Francisco is a bounty hunter, and he is supposed to retire androids that have illegally broken free of captivity in Mars and got themselves to Earth, and are trying to blend into society. So he's trying to retire them, meaning kill them. So with this book, humans have this sort of entitled domination over everything. They've already destroyed the Earth and all of its natural resources, and now there are these two subspecies, I suppose you could call them, of androids and specials. Androids, obviously not actually humans, but they're getting pretty freaking close, and they are made out of organic matter. The only way to be the only definite test, you have to test their bone marrow to determine whether or not they're an android. And then the specials, who are known as chicken heads by the public, have genetic mutation which has caused them to have a low IQ as a result of the radiation from World War Terminus. So you have humans, the arching overlords, and then specials and androids, and I think these two are sort of two sides of the same coin, because androids are kept in captivity, essentially captivity in Mars, and aren't allowed on Earth. And the chicken heads weren't allowed to emigrate to Mars, so they've sort of been stunted in life by just society. And there's a converse treatment to animals, which is sort of revered in this world, and it makes you think a little bit of how we're dominating of animals currently. I mean, I know we have them in zoos and stuff, but even something like if you see a spider on the floor, it's really special and you must keep it in a test tube, and there's a bit where they're just sort of, these androids are torturing a spider, and the specials there just like, why are you doing this? They're really, really precious. So it's a little bit of a thing of we should be treating animals better now. Another big theme in this book is the faults of human oversimplification. It's very much black and white and doesn't allow room for the grey area when these things are inherently complex, like justice and murder. Like killing androids is considered justice, but if they, it's too black and white for what is definitely complex. And just even the lines between human and artificial, they're getting so close that they're still like, the humans are just like, don't consider them anything at all. Do you know what I mean? There's like too much disparity there. So the Rosen Association that designs on Earth the robots and then gets them built on Mars, their goal is to make the androids the most human-like as possible. Law enforcement, to determine whether they're androids living on Earth, they have to come up with tests to differentiate between humans and androids, and the Rosen Association are basically trying to fix that differentiation. And they've gotten really far to the point where it's quite easy for animals to blend in, and the only thing that will differentiate animals, the only thing that will differentiate the androids from the humans is that androids can't feel empathy. So Rick has to do these tests that determine your responses to stories about like having baby skin handbags, and if you respond slightly later than you should, then you're going to be an android. So I think it says something that the only thing that they haven't fixed yet is empathy. Like physically they're so human, and behaviorally they're very human, but empathy is something that they cannot accomplish yet. The main sort of religion, I suppose you could say, or like spiritual experience that people have, that humans have, is this collective ability to experience empathy done through this box system. So that's another thing that separates the humans from the androids. The whole plot of the book takes place in 24 hours, and Rick's job is to hunt down a pack of 6 androids that have escaped from Mars, and it's just a very trying day, and halfway through he starts to empathize with androids and realize that they're not too dissimilar from us, and he wants to quit. He doesn't want to be a bounty hunter anymore because he's starting to see it more as murder than as retribution. And then he comes into contact with essentially like the figurehead of everybody's religion, Mercer, and I've got a quote that Mercer says to him. Rick says, "Why should I do it? I'll quit my job and emigrate." And the old man says, "You'll be required to do wrong no matter where you go. It's the basic condition of life to be required to violate your own identity. At some time, every creature which lives must do so. It's the ultimate shadow, the defeat of creation, that is a curse at work, the curse that feeds on all life, everywhere in the universe." So Mercer is saying that for there to be life, there must be destruction. Something else I noticed in this book is that there's sort of like a cycle happening quite often. So he's saying that creation and destruction have to work together continuously for life to function. And there's also another part of the book which I really loved that was very random, which is where the subplot line focuses on this chicken head special man, and he is talking to somebody about kipple, which is kipple is described as like useless rubbish that you have lying around the house that accumulates. There's the first law of kipple, he says. Kipple drives out non-kipple. No one can win against kipple, except temporarily and maybe in one spot. Like in my apartment, I've managed to create a stasis between the pressure of kipple and non-kipple for the time being. So that's another part where there's sort of this invisible balancing act between mess and having to act to prevent it. I really enjoy this book, not only because the plot is interesting, the character is interesting, and the themes are interesting, but also it keeps you thinking throughout the book, but not in like a high pressure way. It's just like it was really unexpectedly enjoyable to read. So I'm giving this 4.5 stars out of 5. Thank you.